Good morning. Good morning. I wanted to come in here. Welcome back to another episode of Inner Compass and kind of just share my own experience today. Um, and I think it's just, when I keep reflecting on like, why did we come in here? Like, what is our sole purpose? And when I think of our earth and what we see, or what I've at least perceived in my reality, is what we get a lot of is the finite. We see a lot of the finite egoicness that we have created. And I share this a lot, but I truly feel deep down in my heart that we are here to be so much more than that, that we are here to transcend into a different level of consciousness to relieve our own suffering. And again, how do we suffer? And what's the suffering that we create as human beings? Because I truly do believe when we think about like what we seek or what we study is that state of what I would call enlightenment, although we're not really seeking that. We're supposed to just be it and realize that. But it's an interesting dialogue or dynamic that I just think about when I think about like why do we even exist here? Like what is the point of all of this? And it's all a great lesson for us to remember who we are, to actualize at the level that we remember that we are God. We are an emanation of God. Our energy that runs through our body is that of source. And this morning I woke up feeling a little just like I think sometimes we get caught in some of these thoughts. And I was sitting there thinking, and I was thinking, okay, I think I need to meditate and really clear that. And then I just turned on something that I love to listen to just to kind of get me in the state and get me moving for my day. And it was a lesson from the Course in Miracles called Lesson 199, called I Am Not My Body, I Am Free. And I was like, oh, wow. And again, like the universe is always gifting us exactly what we need at the right moments in time to help us move through what we're feeling. And it's this profound realization that there is only one power here. There's only one energy here. And that we continuously have the illusion that we're acting separate from that source. And I just was like thinking, oh, okay, so if I remember, like, I am not my body, like, I am just I'm an avatar for source to work through. And it's not Aaron, the individual doer, doing anything. It's Aaron is a vessel for God, source, the universe, and divine to act through. And to realize that I am not my body, I am free. I hear the voice of God has given to me, and it's only through this that my mind obeys. And really, it's about of myself, I do nothing. I can only do what I see my Father doing. That's what Jesus talks about. And only say what I hear my Father saying. And so when I think about how do we really transcend? How do we get out of suffering? How do we get out of the hamster wheel? It's realizing and remembering who we are. Because again, our ego likes to keep us very stuck. Like my ego was like, oh yeah, Aaron, what about this? And what about that? And what if this isn't successful? And I had this realization and this learning that ultimately that's just a distortion occurring within my body. My body houses the energy. And everything that's going on within my body, within the universe, is just a feedback mechanism for me to learn and to grow. And um, it was just a powerful remembrance of, okay, what I think my mind is thinking is actually not true. I'm not an individual actor here. There's nothing that I am doing. And when I realized that, it was like, oh, I'm not even attached to what's occurred and what's happened to me. Because again, that attachment to that identification of Aaron and XYZ and has happened to me ultimately is what's keeping me in my suffering. So it was just like this profound, like, oh, yeah, when I realized I am not my body, like that whole belief of separation disappears because I remember that I'm just one with source and there's nothing I need to do except my father's will. So it was just and our thoughts are illusions and God is the power. He's the battery. You are the force itself. You are not the character or the body that's moved by the force, is all the reason for suffering. And when we realize that I am the force, all of that suffering disappears because it's not Erin's attached to every outcome, everything that she's done in order to then sit in that and go, oh gosh, I really screwed that up, or I really did mess that up, or that's again our ego. That's an illusion of our separate self that's trying to keep us out of co-creation with source because it wants us to think that we're acting separate from it when we are in union with it. So if you think you are the person, you don't exist. If I realize Aaron doesn't truly exist, I am just the source of God here, then none of my problems exist. So what really is there? The only thing there is then is to just be an available vessel for source to flow through. And I just our ego wants to keep us on that hamster wheel. And it wants to keep us thinking that there's lack, that there's separation. And when I think about the evolution of where we're going as human beings, it's to get off this hamster wheel. It's to get off the suffering. It's realizing remembering who we are. And really, if our mind is separate from God, then our body is acting out what the mind thinks. And everything your body does is a reflection of your consciousness. And this goes into a lot of different metaphysical principles around mentalism, where you'll hear thoughts become things. But really, it's when you think about that, we want to do a lot where we want to use our body to become enlightened, and the truth is the inverse needs to follow. We need to remember who we are so that our body, our energy center, then our body just follows what we do. We're trying to change the doer when we do, let's say, body work, to then think that that's going to transcend the soul. But the reality is we're going to keep having distortions within ourselves. When energy comes in and we're distorted or misaligned, we're going to experience the distortion and the misalignment. So when we think about everything that our body is doing, what we're putting into it, what we're consuming, whether that's our diets, whether that's what we watch and take in, all of that is a reflection of our consciousness. It's a reflection of our conscious level. And so I'm on a detox currently, and it's interesting to watch my body kind of like really think about, what I'm putting in, fruits and vegetables and organic and locally sourced and very clean, maybe what I was eating before is very, very different. With even the way that I feel, like the energy and how it flows through my body. So everything that we're doing, whether it's food that we consume, whether it's the TV shows that we decide to watch, whether it's how often we're on social media, all of that is a reflection of our consciousness. And so I'm going to continue to come in here and share my journey of what I'm experiencing, what I'm working through, because I think that what God wants me to share is how do we get out of this state of suffering? How do we move to a higher level of consciousness? How do we break free and truly be free when we remember who we are? And so, continue to come in, continue to join me. Please comment, like, share, um, subscribe, because I would love to just continue to engage in how we uplevel humanity. Because when we transcend and fix ourselves, we're going to transcend and fix the world. There's no individual doers out there. There's one God. There's one source that we are to become available vessels for Him to flow and work through as a divine being. And so I want that for humanity. I want that for every human being, is to break free from that pain, break free from that suffering, and to really realize what's going on. And to, as you transcend, you just become more in love with the truth. What is the truth? Am I the truth? And how can I be the truth? So join me daily, Monday through Friday. We're going to continue to engage. We're going to continue to have this conversation. And most importantly, I just send you all my love. I wish you the very most blessed day. And I look forward to seeing you guys all again tomorrow.